Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's David Sherry. This is Founder Therapy. Today, I want to talk about the 5 levels of value questions and why most people are asking the wrong questions in their career or in their business. And one of the compliments that I tend to get in the work that I do as a coach to founders of million-dollar plus businesses is you ask such great questions. And it's flattering to hear this, but I have to admit, it's not something that came naturally. I've learned over time how to use the tool of great questions to both serve others, but also serve myself. And I think if we can think about questions as a tool in this way, how they define the frame of the conversation that we're having, how they determine the path that you end up following, you start to realize over time that answers really aren't that valuable, but the right questions are extremely valuable. The better the question you're asking, the better the journey you're going to have in your life and your career. But most people get stuck on this and they don't really know what questions to ask, and they get caught really in the answers being limited in this field of possibility. So I wanted to share 5 levels of questions that you go through as you develop as an entrepreneur, as a creator, or as someone who wants to create more value for the people that you're working with. It's kind of like a ladder. So we're going to start with the low leverage, low value questions, and then we're going to get to the highest leverage, highest value questions that you can ask yourself and others in your work. Question number 1 is, what do I do? When you're working in a new role or you're in a state that you've never been in before, it's common to get tripped up on this question, well, what do I do next? When you don't know what to do, you don't act. And so you wait and you search, or you look for somebody or something that can tell you what it is that you need to do next. And most oftentimes, this is a way that we procrastinate. The point is, until you can specifically see a next short-term action, you can't act. And the what do I do question is low value because it's very short-term focused, and it's almost a procrastination type question where we can't act until we know the answer to this. Level 2 is, how do I do it? Once you know what to do, now we start to see and understand that many people can take similar actions, but not all of them get the same results. When you don't understand the why and the deeper depth of how something works, you lack proper form. How do I do it is a form question. It's about posture. It's about feeling and experiencing an action rather than just intellectually understanding it. So, how is the question for practitioners? You're seeking to apply something that you've learned. How is for doers? So, in an organization, in a team, in a community, in a political structure, how is about doing. And so it's a relatively low value question to ask, and it tends to be the type of question that you ask to share with people who are at a lower price point. This is where how-to books come into play, how-to lists, and really people think that if I just know how to implement it, then that's going to solve my problems and give me the right results. But as you'll see as we continue down this ladder, that is a limited form of question. How is really a limited question. Question number 3 is, who should do it? When you start to wake up to the limits of your own doing, you begin to see the benefit of collaboration. You begin to see the benefit of hiring, of delegation, of managing and leading a team. Who is the first leadership question outside of self-leadership that you get to ask? Who is the shift from founder doer to CEO or manager or executive, from someone who's doing everything to recruiting people to do it for you? Who should do it? This is the beginning of systems level thinking. It's a systems level question. So now you're thinking and considering outside of yourself as the sole actor, and you're starting to think about, well, who do I put in place to run this system for me? This is when a lot of CEOs come to me because they're struggling with productivity and they want to get more done in their business. I shift them away from thinking about themselves to thinking more and more about who questions. Who can I surround myself with that's going to make my job a lot easier, that's going to advance the business more than I ever could? So that's why who and who should do it is a higher value question than how. Question number 4 is, where should we go? If you start thinking about a system, well, systems need direction. Where should we go? Where charts the course? Where is about the future? Whereas the first question was about the short-term present, where is about the future? Where is about where a system or a group of people need to head? If organizations, they don't know where they're going, then everyone's gonna be working out of unison. And where is the biggest change to direction that you can provide for people to go in a completely one way or the other? For example, if you're Kodak as a company and you start asking the question, do we double down on film or do we enter the digital camera space? That completely changes the trajectory of where this company goes. If you're the head of NASA and you ask the question, should we go to the moon or should we go to Mars or should we launch a probe to the sun? All of those have a completely different set of things that's going to happen after that. So where should we go? That's the big filtering question. And it's really about direction. And as you can see, where should we go? There's risk to that question. For NASA to decide moon or Mars, that's a risky proposition, right? To make that decision there's a lot of weight to that decision. So where is risky, and that's why where is a very common CEO question. With where there's consequences, there's regret. We need to align and take a system and chart a course for where everyone is going to head together for an organization, for a community, for a political party. People crave direction. The system needs a direction. And so where should we go is a very high leverage, high value question, but it's not the last question. The highest value question that we can ask is, what does it mean? The final level of value in asking questions about your career or your business for yourself and for others is about meaning. When you're so distracted in the doing up the chain, you ignore these deeper questions that go on in your life around meaning and meaninglessness of things that you do and why we even do things in the first place. And that's why Simon Sinek says, start with why, right? He's starting with the meaning question. And the good news is that we are meaning-making machines. And so inherently, we do have some sense of this for ourselves. Meaning-making is about how we interpret our lives around us. It's about how we interpret our work. So the highest level thinkers, the highest value thinkers, they look at the context. So in meaning questions, you're playing with the container itself, not the contained. Imagine playing with the rules of a game or the stadium or the field instead of being so focused on being a player on the field. You start working on the museum rather than the art sitting in the museum. Meaning is about creating the context, and context is how we understand ourselves. It's how we understand the world. And context creators are master storytellers. If you think about it, Steve Jobs didn't say the most powerful person in the world is the doer, the actor, the person who gets stuff done. He did not say that. He said the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. Stories are what write these invisible scripts for us, these lines of action that we follow. Leaders who work at this level are playing a more invisible game, a more subtle game. They create power and generate systems that live on beyond them that other people are playing in. And these inventors of context, they challenge our reality and they see life outside the container that we're stuck in. I can give you one concrete example, which is Tom's Shoes, which created a business model of buy one pair of shoes, donate a pair of shoes. This created a whole new way of meaning making our consumption of shoes. He changed and broke the entire paradigm for why buy a shoe from I want to run faster, which is Nike, to I'm giving back and helping with consumption in the world. And then you see other companies follow the lead of Tom's Shoes and replicate the model, and it exists and lives on as an idea beyond even that one individual. So that was an incredibly beautiful context setting and reframe that he provided an entire industry of consumption. The point is to create more value, to expand our value. We want to climb the ladder of these value questions over time. And so next time you feel like you're stuck, start to get a sense of what type of question am I asking right now? Am I seeking answers, or am I seeking the right types of questions? And am I stuck in the doing, or am I getting more into the direction and eventually the context and meaning of my work? Now, I hope you can help this apply. I hope you can help apply these questions to the people that you're working with so you can elevate their game and expand the value that you create. Most of the times we are not seeking the answers we think, we are seeking better levels of questions. So I hope this helps you. If you have any thoughts, comments, you can leave one below. You can ask questions. I would love to hear from you. In that regard, you can like and subscribe for more videos like this. And with that, I'll be back again very soon. Later.